So in this video, obviously we're going to be installing a Borla exhaust. We're also going to be swapping out to an LSD diff. Just because I don't like the ones I have, the open diff. We should be getting this thing installed. It has everything into a true dual pipe exhaust with quad tips, so that's going to sound really nice, and especially because it's Borla. I'm stoked to hear how it sounds like once this is on the car. I already have arc down pipes and H pipes connected to it, so it does already have the catalytic converters gone. And now I'm just gonna modify it by having basically stock one has a resonator and a muffler, but the muffler is like probably the twice the size of this muffler. I'll show you guys a comparison right now. So I hate it. I do have the exhaust right here next to me. This is all going to be installed. I do have more in the back as well that I should probably fix before I head out to the road. The coldest day ever to install this. There's like a lot of rain. Even on the floor outside, it's wet. So that's going to be fun too, installing that. All right, so we got the muffler off. That shit is gargantuan, but luckily it's not heavy. What we had to do was take off from the hangers up here first. Obviously undo the bolts to the muffler. 19 millimeter. No, not bad. So 19 millimeter, and then two hangers, one here and then obviously on the other side as well. And then we're gonna make our way down to the resonator, and then obviously back to the connecting Y pipe to the test pipes up ahead. And then for some reason I thought my diff had an extra bolt, but no, it just has a hole right here. So it's just going to be 1, 2, 3, and then obviously the ones connecting to the drive shafts. And then I'm going to drain the diff fluid from this. I did see this one is a 3.7 open diff. So already this one was already giving me good gas mileage. The new one that I do have, so the new one I have is this one right here. This one's completely clean. Obviously this is like brand new. This one is, no. All right, so this is a new diff that we have. This one is a 3.5 LSD. So basically already I was already hitting 80 miles per hour, less than 3,000 RPM. That's because I do have a few other mods to it, so that's probably why. So this one should increase my gas mileage even more. I should be hitting 80 miles per hour less, or at least around 2,500 RPM. So that's my theory. We won't know until this is on. And then obviously I didn't have a new gear oil in it as well. This one does have the limited slip additive. Most of the other ones don't, and you do need to add the additive to it, but this one is really good because able to squeeze through here. Obviously don't do it when it's not in the car because it was leaking. I don't know if that's how it is or something's broken inside it. We won't know because I did buy this thing used, but it does rotate all as one piece. As you can see, it is a true LSD. I made sure to check that before. This one on the other hand isn't an LSD, so if I rotate this one back, that one rotates forward. So obviously this isn't really ideal for a coupe. I don't know why they did this. Should have made them all LSDs, but whatever. So yeah, and then not to mention as well, I do have the Borla kit in here. Well, that's one part of it. The actual muffler is down here, and it is gonna make it into a dual exit exhaust, a true dual exit, how they should have came. So right now we're just still taking things out. Hopefully it's still a 19 millimeter, but we'll see. All right, just so a visual. This car already comes with test pipes right over here. We connected all the bolts. There's 4 bolts, the 2 bottoms, the 2 tops. Those were on mine at least were 16. I believe the original are 19s. Once you undo those bolts, it'll be a hanger, that hanger right over here. Just loop it up, or even get some PV blaster, which is what we did. And then we did, again, I think we did the most outer hanger, and then the whole thing just slipped right out. This car does have low miles, so it did come off easily. If your car has higher miles or just like isn't in Southern California, you might have a hard time doing it, but with ours it's much more simpler.
Low miles with salvage title.
Clean title. Auction title. what we're doing now is we're just gonna drain it just to get as much weight from this diff out as possible from when we take this one out officially. Okay, so here's the resonator with the Y connection pipe to the cats. Before this is the cats. Over here is where the muffler connected to. So what we did was we undid these two bolts. Mine were aftermarket bolts. They were 16 millimeters. I think the stock ones might be 19. I'm not really sure. And then all you had to do was just lube up these hangers. Only two. Slide them out. I think we did the most outer one, and then the whole thing just slid out. Yeah, this is how it looks. This one did have a distinct bend. Oh, yeah, there's a bend right here, and then it dips in right over here, which kind of chokes it a little bit more. We're just gonna start it up right now, just see how it sounds with nothing on. So for this diff, might be scary because obviously it's the thing that moves your whole car. Obviously, I've never done anything. This is like my first time ever doing this, and this is my first car. So let's just see how it comes out. Right now, it's taking out the fluid. Very dark as hell. Yeah. You're supposed to change this fluid every 30 to 40,000 miles. This car has 75, I think. 74,000, and it has never changed the fluid. So let's see how dark this shit comes out. It should be a good little stream because it's so thick.
It just comes out chunky.
Brown. It's a little
that dark.
Yeah, it's not that dark actually. What the hell?
There's I think there's some metal on it.
On the
Yeah.
Is that magnetic though?
Yeah, it's magnetic too.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there's like a lot of metal.
On that one?
Yeah.
Alright, so now we lower the sway bar, which is really easy. All we need is what is this? A 14 millimeter. And all you gotta do is two bolts, two on each side of the sway bar. And now we're actually getting the one connected to the diff. So it's only, for my car at least, it's gonna be one here, two in the front, and then as long as the three on the drive shaft. And then as for the axles, it's, from what we saw, it's only just a pry bar, and you just pry out the diff from the axles, and it should just slip out. But we'll see when we get there. You already loosened it?
Yeah.
Oh. Nice. All right, so what we're doing now is we're just getting the jack in support because we undid that bolt up top and it did snag a little bit. So obviously we don't want this shit to fall because it's still connected to the drive shaft along as the axles. We don't want it to yank on it and damage it even more. But to take out the bolt connected to the back of the diff, it was a, for the, oh, never mind.
The biggest fucking bolt.
It was a 19 millimeter to take out the back of the diff. Next, we'll see what the other bolts are. So far 19, 16, for factor it might be 19.
Is that all?
Another 19. What? All right, well, we officially got the open diff out. This is the old one right here. So it's a little dirty, which makes sense, but whatever. So on mine at least, it only has one bolt connected through here, while as for this side it's just open. It had like just like a little grommet inside, not on this specifically, but on the actual subframe itself. So I don't know how I feel about that, but so far it's a 19, 19, 19, and then these are also 19. So all of these bolts are 19s. To take it off was super easy. As you're doing these bolts, eventually once the diff starts to lower itself, it just slips out. Oh, we did it with the wrench. We didn't even need a prior bar. We just put a wrench right through it and then just pulled it out. It is gonna get a little hard for some people just because
They don't have friends.
they don't have friends. And then not to mention that the axles come with like a little seal in it, so that might get stuck. For our case, I think it's just gonna slip right in. So, but yeah, diff is officially out. We're not even mechanics and we did that shit. So as long as you have a garage, a friend and a bunch of tools. You should get this thing done. I did bring a scissor jack, but we didn't need it. We just need 3 jacks, a rolling jack, and then a bunch of wrenches, sockets, deep sockets. Most of these bolts are 19 millimeters, so that's going to be your best friend throughout this whole thing. We did use a deep and the short 19 millimeter. So now it's time to put the LSD in it. Yeah, and then to take out the drive shaft, you are gonna need a 19 millimeter wrench besides the sockets itself. We did use a impact gun, and any cheap one would do it. So there's that as well. We did use a breaker bar, a standard wrench. We probably gonna use a torque wrench to torque it, but I don't think I'm gonna want to do that. So yeah, this is gonna be used to hold the drive shaft, while your other friend's gonna be on the other side with an impact gun or a breaker bar just to break apart the bolts. Yeah, and then you hold onto the nut while this thing falls out. They're over there actually. We just have them sitting over there. I don't know where the other one's at. Well, it's time to slap on the LSD and put on the Borla system.
Big boy on there.
I know. All right, so what we're discussing right now is the short threaded bolts are the ones that connect to the axle. I even pulled one out. I put it aside. These two right here on the side, they were out. We did get mixed up. So the longer the thread, those ones go to the actual bushings itself. This one specifically goes to that bushing right here. Well, as for the short threaded ones, they go to the drive shaft that's hanging right there by the jack. That one right there. And then those short bolts over there are for the sway bar, which connects up here. So yeah, the longer the thread, it's for the bushings. The short threaded ones are for the axle, which makes more sense. All right, time to step that bitch in. So, all right, just now I said that this might be an open diff and I probably got scammed, but that was because I had this car in park. So right now it's in neutral. So Jerry, spin it real quick. Yeah. It's in neutral, so when we spin it, both of them actually go the same direction. This one goes back, this one goes back. Spin it the other way. Now that one's going forward, this one's going forward. Now it is in neutral, so we are spinning the shaft, so that's probably why it was doing that earlier. Again, I don't know much of it. Right now, since it's in neutral as well, we're spinning one side. The drive shaft is moving as well, but this side stays still. As far as I'm concerned, as long as it's in drive, both spin forward. I'm happy with it. This is an LSD. So yeah, right now we're just getting it in. It was super simple, sliding it out, sliding it in. They all just popped in. Again, this is an automatic, so for manual guys, you will have stub shafts to disconnect. And then depending if you got an automatic one like mine, you will have to reuse your stub shafts and plug them in. Well, as for mine, it's an automatic, so it's a slip-on. Connecting these bolts was easy. Now to actually get the diff in was the tricky part. Not the axles, but more of putting it in where it should belong. So what we did was we reconnected the drive shaft bolts to the diff. We already connected these ones first. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise it, connect this back bolt to this bushing right here. And once this is in, we're gonna raise it up a teeny tiny bit more just to put the mounts for this onto these top bushings. So as right now, again, all of these bolts are 19s. You will need a 19 wrench, and as well as a 19 impact gun millimeter. So let's get to it. All right, just like that, we now got the diff in place like how it was originally.
Yeah, I did get it right. 65 to 79.
Yeah. Drive shaft. Now we're just torquing it down, the drive shaft to the actual diff. 65 to 79 foot-pounds. Torque spec on the LSD to the drive shaft. We're also gonna top it off with more diff fluid just because some kind of leaked out a little. So we did the bushings for the differentials, all 3 of them, at least for this car, all 3 to 65. You said 72? 65 to 72. All I gotta do is put the sway bar and then put in the new Borla, and then we're gonna find out if the H pipe does in fact connect to the Borla X pipe, which we'll find out in a second. Once we got all of this tightened up, then we'll move on to the actual exhaust right over there. All right, so We got the boiler system on. It does connect to the H pipe of the arc exhaust. So it's gonna turn into an H pipe, then to an X pipe, and then into a true dual exit exhaust. So what we're doing now is we're trying to tighten it all up evenly. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start from the back, from where the boiler connects to the arc test pipes, and work our way up into these ones, because this one it moves up and down, while that one it's more settled in. Yeah, that side's even. This one moves just because that's how it comes in. There's the clamp over here. The other side does not have the clamp. Yeah, this exhaust is more easier just because it has clamps. I don't know what the other ones are. I don't really care, because this one's gonna sound way better. Oh my god, I didn't realize how dirty I was. So we just finished the exhaust as well as the LSD. There is a small leak. Once I match the gas, you can hear it. So it's a tiny little leak. It's only coming from one spot that we're aware of, but honestly, we just want to test out the LSD as well as listen to this new exhaust. So yeah, we're gonna be doing some little drives and see how it goes. I didn't realize how dirty I was. I'm looking in the mirror right now.